Hey YouTube, I'm reading out of 1 Samuel chapter 4 verses 5 through 10. Today I'm going to be talking about thinking that God is going to help you out when you're not following Him or doing what He asks. So, verse 5. When the ark of the Lord's covenant came to the camp, all Israel raised such a great shout that the ground shook. Hearing the uproar, the Philistines asked, "What's the shouting in the Hebrew camp?" When they had learned that the ark of the Lord had come into the camp, the Philistines were afraid. "A god has come into the camp," they said. "We are in trouble. Nothing like this has happened before. Woe to us! Who will deliver us from the hand of these mighty gods? They are the gods that struck the Egyptians with all kinds of plagues in the desert. Be strong, Philistines. Be men, or you will be subject to the Hebrews, as they have been to you. Be men and fight." Now what's going on here is that the Philistines have already defeated the Israelites in a battle previous before this. And now they're about to go to battle again, but this time the Israelites are like, "Hey, let's bring the Ark of the Covenant because, God's presence is always on that and it's going to cause us to win." And the problem with that is that sometimes we'll go off, and like Israel had a corrupt priesthood. Eli's sons were both doing wrong. They were messing with offerings and different stuff like that they shouldn't have been doing. That the whole of Israel itself was committing sins. And so they assumed, hey, we lost the first one. Maybe he's, it's because we're doing something wrong. But hey, let's bring the ark out here because his presence is always on that. It's going to cause us to win. But if you read in verse 10, it says, "So the Philistines fought, and the Israelites were defeated, and every man fled to his tent. The slaughter was very great. Israel lost 30,000 foot soldiers. The ark of God was captured, and Eli's 2 sons were killed." You see, we think that just because, we're all going to mess up, and God understands that. But part of repenting is not only saying, "Yeah, I've messed up, I don't want to do it anymore, help me change." It's also fighting with Him. If you're just sitting back thinking He's going to do it all for you, you're not going to get anywhere. And so we'll go through this, and we'll keep sinning, and because God loves us, He's going to have to remove His hand of protection and let us let the consequences of sin hit us. You're probably wondering, how is that love? Well, it's like a small child. I can tell a small child all day long, "Don't touch that stove, it's hot." But if the child continues to try and do it, eventually I'm going to have to let them do it so they can find out on their own it's hot. Some things He can tell us over and over, but sometimes if we don't get it through His Word, we have to learn the hard way. And the Bible's full of different examples of that. Israel was the prime of them. But notice the thing is that when we finally hit low, when we finally become consequence to the sins, when we're down on our very bottom, at the lowest point, God helps us back up and helps us continue on our way. You see, don't go about fighting your battles without God with you. And don't try to replace Him with something that you've always related Him to. Because that's what the Israelites try to do. "Oh, the Ark of the Lord's Covenant. We take that thing out there, He's going to be with us, we're going to win." That obviously did not work out for them. Because it wasn't the Ark of the Covenant that has the power. It's God's presence on the Ark of the Covenant that has the power. And if God wasn't going to help them the first time because of their sin, bringing the Ark of the Covenant was going to be no different. I want y'all to think about that as you go through your week. You're going to face battles. You're going to face different things. It's spring break, There's parties, all different kinds of stuff. Think about what it is you're getting yourself into before you actually get into it. And is God following you in? Or are you about to become consequences to the sins you've been committing? I love you guys. I'm hoping to see y'all next week. Have a safe spring break. Don't get in any trouble, and have fun down at the beach or wherever. Later, YouTube.